Hey everyone, so today I wanted to give an overview of Yabai, which is a tiling window manager, and I have it working for macOS. So I wanted to show you kind of how I use it and also how to set it up. The way Yabai works is that it's a tiling window manager, and so there's no windows behind it. Say if I open up another window on Safari, it'll automatically create that new window onto the side. And then and it has kind of this golden rectangle style of creating windows. So if I just keep creating them, then they get smaller and smaller. So if I want to switch focus to a different window, then I have this keyboard shortcut mapped, so I just press Alt and J to focus on a different window, and then Alt and K to focus on the next window. So it makes it really easy for me to not have to reach for my mouse. And then simultaneously, macOS has already like these spaces from mission control, and so you can just use your default command arrow key to go to a different space. But actually, I found that if I use the Yabai control, as you can see, it's really fast. I can just like boom, go into this window, or if I want to see where my other windows are, I could just go back and forth like so. Also, if I wanted to say, let me just exit out of these. Let's say I wanted to make this window take up more space on the left side. Then I have it mapped to Alt-L, and so I can make it bigger. And then, and if I switch back to this window and I press Alt-H, I can make this bigger again. You can also make it smaller, but I don't want to take up a keyboard shortcut to do that, since my reasoning is you would only ever really need to make a window bigger. And if I make it bigger like this, then if I want to rebalance it, my keyboard shortcut is Alt-B, and I just rebalance it to the middle. The thing I like about Yabai is you don't have to take this half-half screen, so if I press Alt-S, I can make it kind of a third. And if I press S again, this toggles so that I can have this screen and I can make this bigger, I can make this bigger, and just have thirds, you know? So this makes it really convenient to just adjust the screens that I want to see. And if I bounce it back here, but I want to make, say I want to make, just to make it more clear, I'll just show you on this window. Say I want to make this window larger, then I have the keyboard mapping where I press Alt I, and it makes this taller. And then I just swap over to this window and I press Alt O, and I make this taller. So it gives you the flexibility of being able to manage your windows how you want and quickly access them, which is super productive for me. Lastly, a few more features I want to show, and the first is swapping. So if I wanted this to go to the top left, then I just press my swap keyboard, which for me I have it bound to Alt spacebar, and it makes it top left, which is the first. So if I want to take this window and make it the first, then, or what it actually does is it makes these windows are assigned in priority, so like first, second, third, and so it assigns that window further up in priority. See, so right now it's third, second, first, and then also you can create new workspaces. So I have mine bound to Alt N, and here's a new workspace, and then if I wanted to throw a window onto that workspace, okay, let me clarify. With skhdrc, which is my keyboard mapper, I can actually open up more than one instances of Safari, which macOS does not allow you. So it's kind of unlike Linux, it actually is a little bit of a hindrance sometimes to be able to figure out which instance of Safari I have up. So let's say, where was I? Okay, I wanted to throw this onto my new workspace. So the way I have it bound is Alt 0, which throws it to my last workspace. And yeah, don't worry, I'll show you the Yabai commands later. I'll just pull up this here, this Yabai GitHub page, and I'll just like walk through it with you. But so I have bound Alt 0 to throw something onto the very last workspace, which is the workspace I've just created, and then I have Alt plus bound to whatever is last. So the way Yabai has it ordered is that sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the last workspace isn't exactly the one you've just created. So I think the one I just created is like second to last. My last workspace is here. So sometimes it's a little bit tricky, but I still feel like the productivity benefits really well, as far as just like if I wanted to utilize this workspace, I would just find a way to like throw this onto this workspace. I mean, most of the time I just go onto my very first workspace anyway, and then and then I just like throw things to my last workspace. I just basically clear out my workspace and or like I open up a new workspace and open up files on it anyway, so I don't really need to rearrange my windows. But yeah, if you wanted to, you can just create a keyboard binding to do so. So a few other keyboard bindings that I find useful is like Alt, kind of like how you use tabs on Safari, where you press Control 1, Control 2, or Control 3, and you can navigate the tabs. In the same way, I can navigate my workspaces with Alt 3 or Alt 4 or Alt 5 or Alt 2. I think by default macOS utilizes Alt 1, so it kind of throws off Yabai. Most of the time I'm working on one of my earlier workspaces, so if I need to go to my last workspace, I can just hit Alt plus sign and it'll bring me to my last workspace and then kind of just like tab through them with my original keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so how do we get to setting this up? And I think I'm kind of new to Linux, and a lot of people who use Linux are already pretty familiar with terminal and everything, so I was kind of a newbie, and it was kind of confusing for me to set this up, so hopefully for those of you who are like me, it can give you a good kind of guide. Basically, you go on to this Yabai GitHub page, and it walks you through how to set it up. So if we go to the README, if we go to the wiki, then you can see macOS is one of the. Then as you can see, it works for macOS, and basically you download Homebrew. Well, first you should follow the guide, and here it says to disable system integrity protection, but basically you hold Command R and then you click the menu, and I have my menu like not shown, but you can click on utilities when you get to that screen, and then you put these into terminal, and then you just reboot it. And then to install Yabai, you install Brew. First you need Homebrew, and you can look at other YouTube videos on how to get Homebrew, but you put these into your terminal. So maybe I'll make another video at a later time showing how I do a fresh install on my other computer, but you basically follow these. You follow these, and I'll just most of these directions are pretty straightforward, but I'll walk through them if there's anything that gave me trouble. I can kind of like give you a heads up here. But installation is pretty straightforward. You just install Yabai and then kind of follow these, update it. And so the way Yabai works is, you go to your terminal and you put this config in. So once you are in your terminal, to get it to start doing tiling, because I don't think it starts right away, you put this command in. I'm not going to do it right now, but and then you can change your options here. So for example, like this is a really cool feature. I have my active window and passive window opacities to be different, and so I think I have my current active window opacity at 95, but basically how Yabai works is there's these commands, and so when you have keyboard shortcuts, like the keyboard shortcuts are essentially putting in these commands to your terminal. And so I can make my active window opacity 1, and so you see I can't see behind it anymore. Or I can make it 0.5, and you can see like this is my active window, but it's almost transparent, right? So let's make it back to how I had it. I think I want it as, once you have the settings that you like, you want to go into you want to make a yabairc, and which is like a config file. Let's see, I think mine is config. You want to make a Yabai config file so that you can put all of your settings into it. So the way Yabai, if you're not familiar with like Linux or with Unix kind of file systems, Yabai basically checks your root folder or your, I think it'll say right here, configuration file. It checks your root folder or your config folder for a yabairc, and then what the RC does is it looks at your configs and it will read those settings every time you start Yabai. So let me cd into my config and cd into Yabai, and then I can vim into, or just for you normies out there on Nano, into my yabairc. So this is what you should do. Is it doesn't come creating those folders, so you need to basically create the folder, and the way you do that is, the way you create a folder is you make directory Yabai. Once, let's see, I'm trying to skip steps so that I'm not going too slow, but I know some of you who are on Macs aren't as familiar, so I want to explain it very step by step. So once say you're in your config, you want to make your Yabai folder, right? So you do make directory, and then you do Yabai, and then that makes your Yabai folder. And then once you have the Yabai folder, you want to go into your Yabai folder, and then you want to nano yabairc, which creates a blank. There will be nothing here. Like right now, you see things here, but there'll be a fresh one where there's nothing here. You kind of like type these in, or Yabai gives you a sample configuration file somewhere here. You can look for it. That's where I pulled mine. Or you can just search for it. I think it comes with Yabai. I think if you search for yabairc in Finder, I think it comes with a sample one, and you can just like copy and paste onto this folder. But you place these things in and you change your settings, and then once you start Yabai, you can restart Yabai. So follow the directions, it'll tell you how to restart Yabai, and once you restart Yabai, then these configurations will come standard, and it'll start. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So another tricky thing is in order to not have these, in order to not put these in the terminal every single time, what you need to do is you need to get skhdrc, which helps you bind your keyboard shortcuts, and I'll go through that in maybe a different video as well. So this is just kind of like an overview to walk you through what it does and some of the cool features and why it's kind of very productive in the sense that you don't really need a mouse. You can also enable this, like, you can also enable, I think, mouse follows action. I think it's one of these where wherever your mouse hovers, it automatically makes that, right now I'm clicking, but wherever your mouse hovers, it automatically makes that window the focused window, which is really cool because if you wanted to like just slide your mouse over, then you can type and then slide your mouse over and then type. And so those of you who use your mouse a lot, this actually is pretty useful for them. Alright, thanks for checking out my video, and I hope you give this a try. And be on the lookout for my skhdrc video. I'll probably do that with my how to actually install Yabai fresh on a new computer video, so be on the lookout for that.